Have you ever wondered what it takes to represent your country and Team GB at the highest level? And did you know that TfL works with hundreds of sporting events every year? Welcome to Conversations in the Cloud, the community-led interview series where we talk to inspirational people about what London, the greatest city in the world, and community means to them. I'm Kirsty Malcolm, and in every episode, we'll be travelling 90 metres above the Thames in the comfort of the IFS Cloud cable car, speaking to the inspirational and diverse communities that make this city so amazing. A summer of sport truly is upon us. Now, just to mention a handful of the major sporting events that will be going on, there's of course Wimbledon, there's a load of football going on, both local and international matches, London Athletics at London Stadium, Formula E at XL London, which is just down the road from the IFS Cloud cable car. Now, why is sport important to TfL, you might ask? Well, TfL is hoping to make London not only a fantastic city to travel to go and see sport, but also they're trying to encourage Londoners to have active travel as part of their journey. Now, what does that mean? Well, they are hoping that by 2041, 80% of Londoners will have a little bit of walking, cycling, or something active as part of their journey on public transport. So that could be maybe rollerblading a bit, it could be running a bit, it could be potentially cycling or skateboarding as part of your journey, or just a nice wee stroll down to get to the tube or the underground. Now, part of that, of course, is investing in the pedestrianised network. It's also investing in London cycleways. So they are encouraging people where possible to use public transport and to get active. So unless you've been living under a rock, you will of course know that the Olympics and Paralympics are taking place in Paris this summer. And there will be of course viewing areas across London that you can travel to on public transport to enjoy and be part of the event. And an interesting fact is that this very cable car was actually built and launched for the 2012 London Olympics. And we're very excited to be joined by an Olympian and by someone who will be actually heading to Paris.
In a cable car?
I mean, hopefully, that would be pretty cool.
I'm just thinking now, imagine like this just like flying out. It'd be quite cool, eh?
I mean, it'd be pretty beautiful. If we could do this all the way across the channel, that would be pretty nice.
That's the challenge.
Introduce yourself for our audience. Tell us who you are and have you ever been in the cable car before?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Heather Fisher, Olympian, Rugby World Cup winner, Commonwealth medalist. And yeah, I am sitting in London's cable car, and no, I have never been in a cable car.
What do you think of the views so far?
It's sick, it's wicked. It's so cool. And the sun's out, which always helps, right? Because you can just see across London. But I think when you're from London, you take for granted that you just don't come on it. So no, this is really cool.
What can you see? Is there anything like inspiring you already? Things that you didn't know were here from what you can see around? So we've got the Thames barrier, we've obviously got the O2 just there. We'll be heading into Royal Docks soon, which is really, really beautiful. We're nearby the Cutty Sark. It's just absolutely beautiful. And what a day to have you here.
You're like a tour guide, aren't you?
I do, I feel like a bit of a tour guide today. So you've represented not only England, but also Team GB. What is that like to represent a whole nation?
Yeah, it's wicked. It's just wicked. You can't really explain what it's like, but it's just you feel so honoured and proud to represent Team GB, and it's that thing of all the nations coming together, as well as representing your team, your wider team, your family. You're then representing every other athlete, and you just feel this connection with every athlete that competes, and you're just full of pride and just want to go and do the best for everyone else, and then obviously for your country.
What will you be doing for the Olympics and Paralympics this year?
Yeah, I'm very lucky to go out to Paris. So I am Global Ambassador for Rugby for Airbnb. I'm doing the comms for Eurosport, and I'm hosting Team GB House. So it's going to be pretty busy. I'm literally going to be, and there's a possibility I could be running in Speedos across Paris. I know, right? So I'm like, I actually feel like I need to get my pack ready if I'm going to be in Speedos. But yeah, there's a lot going on. It's very busy, but it's where you want to be as an athlete. Paris is a massive opportunity and platform to change the world again and to evolve for young guys and young girls to see just amazing people doing extraordinary things.
What is it like to play these enormous stadiums here in London, and not only to be representing your country, but so many young people looking up to you as well?
it's phenomenal. It's what you want to do. I grew up as a young girl. I was 13 years old, and I wanted to be Olympian. That was my goal. That was my dream. That was what I wanted. That was my aspiration. And my goal. I remember lying in bed, age 15, just thinking I'm going to play against the All Blacks at Twickenham for England and just be my absolute best. And I did it time and time again. And it's amazing because a crowd just lifts you. A home crowd lifts you. You look around, and when you put your England shirt on, you don't just do it for yourself. You do it for every other person that's helped you, enabled you, patched you back together, stitched you back together, glued you back together. I've had quite a few knock on the head, so glued my head and put me back on the pitch. And for every young person and every athlete that's just about made it, not made it, so many athletes are just pushing so many boundaries all the time. It's incredible. And only a select few get to do it. So I look back now, I've been retired 2 years, and I'm really proud, and I feel really honoured to have played for my country. It's an amazing, I don't think you can get a better job than playing for your country.
What have you had to face in terms of challenges throughout your career, and what's your advice based on some of those experiences?
Where do I start? As a young girl, I had anorexia. I had depression, anxiety, and anorexia, and that was really hard because I think now it's changing, right? But for a young girl to grow up, and my inspiration was Denise Lewis, and I actually got to interview her this year, which is really cool. She's such a wicked person, but she's just so calm and collected and knows what she wants, and she had a purpose and she went for it, and it wasn't easy. She's got an amazing story, but she just went for it. And she wanted to be someone. I think that's where it all starts, is that seed, and just that she just wanted to be someone, right? So I saw her on TV as a young girl. I remember thinking, she's got muscles, she's strong, and she's female. That could be me. And that's how it started. I think for me it's the passion. Muscles just come with being strong, and muscles just came with me wanting to be an athlete. It was then obviously, I suppose it was then, what's the word, like I lost my hair, and then I looked different, I felt different. I'm struggling at the moment with neurodiversity and diagnosis and that side of things, and never really fitted in, had muscles, lost my hair, and I had to be okay with it. I didn't know who I was, but that was also okay, because then I had to work on knowing who I was. And I believe one of my greatest strength is knowing myself and knowing who to work with, my values, and pushing those boundaries now to create new platforms now have come out. So actually, even though it was really tough losing my hair and my identity and having muscles, if I just break it down, I've just gone through a lot, play for my country, therefore I'm strong, and I've got to use it.
In terms of Paris, obviously, how excited are you? Do you have any ones to watch? Anything that you're looking forward to, especially with the upcoming Olympics?
Obviously, Sky Brown is an easy one to watch, right? I hate this question because actually, ones to watch, there's always new ones to watch. And I don't like the question. I'm going to reframe it, because anything can happen at the Olympic Games. And all eyes should be on every athlete, because for some reason it has this spirit of the games, and it just lights you up. And I can feel my hairs on end now. I know I haven't got hair, right, but I can feel my hairs on end, and I can feel my body just tingling, because it's magical. It's like when you're at the Olympic Village, every day and every night is like Christmas Eve.
Got my hair standing on end.
It's like Christmas Eve. That's the only way I can explain. So ones to watch, there's loads of young people competing, loads to watch, from track and field to you got your Rugby Nation, Sky Brown, you got breakdancing, you got B-boys, B-girls coming in, and we're getting younger people in. But you got to keep an eye on everyone, because stars aren't made from just one thing. They've been going and going and going, evolving. And then the games will just set them alight. So it's going to be absolutely wicked.
By 2041, TfL would like 80% of people's journeys to be partly active journeys. So that's walking, a bit of cycling, it could be rollerblading, it could be skateboarding.
Wicked.
So they are trying to encourage more Londoners to have a little bit of active travel, if they can, of course, as part of their journey, and to use public transport to improve the environment. What do you think of trying to improve all the cycle networks, improve all the walking networks to try and encourage people to get out there, even if it's just a little walk?
So I actually think we should start skipping to work. So, obviously you've tried skipping, right?
I love skipping.
Skipping makes you, like, even just talk about skipping makes you happy. I think we should, you try it. If you skip to work, you just skip, you'll feel like you just smile and we bounce and you move so much faster. Like this, I'm not against walking, but I do feel like it becomes quite competitive with the person next to you and stride length and all that stuff, right? Cadence. But it can be a bit like, oh, I'm walking and you want to get there faster. Skipping is the way forward.
Now, just as a last question, what can we look forward to from you coming into this autumn and the rest of the summer? What's next? Apart from running through Paris, potentially in some Speedos.
What's next for Fish? I've got so much lined up. So I'm working on my own charity at the moment called Fishbowl. Get to know it because you need to know it. But that's all about neurodiversity. I want people who are neurodiverse and people who are slightly different to feel like they fit in. Because I don't feel like I ever fitted in, and then I didn't fit in with my hair loss. I still don't feel like I fit in. I have a bit of ADHD, I have other things going on, and I'm working through my diagnosis at the moment. And I don't always fit in, and I want to fit in. But if I'm feeling that, and I have a platform, then again it's my responsibility to change it. So I'm setting up my own charity at the moment, partnering with somebody in London. It will come out soon. And that's going to be really exciting because that will be apprenticeships for young people and we can mentor them through, I hate the word system, so let's go mentor them through the pathway of life. So they always feel supported and can always feel like they can find their people. You have to find your people. The quicker you find your people, the better you'll be in yourself mentally and physically. I said it earlier, but when you put your English shirt on, your Team GB shirt on, I've represented my country for 25 years, right? I've had highs, I've had loads of lows. I've left contracts, I've come back into systems, I've been picked up by GB, bobsleigh, represented Team GB and Bob, come back to the field, and I've always had great people support my journey. If it wasn't for those people and providing the opportunity, I wouldn't be sitting here in a cable car with you lot, which is pretty cool. So you have to have the opportunity, and that only comes from putting yourself out there.
Heather Fisher, thank you so much for joining us on Conversations in the Cloud.
Thank you so much for having me, I appreciate it.
Thank you. One thing London is of course iconic for is the Oval and Lord's cricket grounds. And now I'm really pleased to be joined by Dani Gibson. Can you please introduce yourself for our audience at home?
Hello, I'm Dani Gibson and I play for London Spirit and also England.
What is it like to be called up to the Ashes to represent England? It must be incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal, something that I didn't expect, but always a dream of mine, and it was an amazing series to be a part of.
What was your favourite memory of being out there and competing? It must have been really high pressure as well.
Yeah, well, I played the T20 at Edgbaston, and the crowd was really cool. When I was running into bowl, I could hear them clap, and the support was amazing. I think that it broke a record, so that was probably the most surreal part.
Now, you're wearing a London Spirit jersey at the moment. What is London Spirit and what is the 100?
The 100 is a franchise tournament, and London Spirit are one of 8 teams that play in it, men and women's competition. And it's over a 3 or 4 week period of time, and we all play against each other, try and make it to the final and win the tournament.
Where does that tournament take place? Can people come and watch you in that tournament?
Absolutely, it happens all over the country. I play for London Spirit at Lord's Cricket Ground is where we play. So come and support us mainly, but it is all over the country if you don't live in London.
And obviously we can spot some TfL branding on this. Is this a TfL collaboration that we can see?
Yes, we are partnered with TfL. We have released a limited edition playing shirt. Last year we just did a training top, so we're actually going to get to wear this in a game, I think. So buy one and join us.
You can actually buy this if you are going to go along, which I strongly recommend, to one of the London Spirit games at Lord's Cricket Ground. You can buy one in person, or you can also get them online. And the reason that this is such a great collaboration is that for over 100 years, TfL has actually been taking passengers to the Oval and Lord's Cricket Grounds to watch cricket. So that's a lovely, lovely collaboration. What was it like growing up? Did you have any kind of inspirational people who you looked up to, whether Londoners or otherwise, that you thought wow, that is somebody I really aspire to be, or that I see as a role model?
I guess like my family inspire me to be the best I can be. They've always supported me, and I want to do as well as I can for them, as well as myself. As someone that I looked up to was a hockey player called Maddie Hinch when I was younger. To see her do so well in a tournament for her country, that was when I was like, I want to be able to do that in a sport.
Has anybody gotten in touch with you, like young people who've gotten in touch with you to say, oh my goodness, I saw you at the Ashes, or I've seen what you've done? Do you get any kind of fan mail or anything like that?
Well, after every game we go and like meet the fans and sign some autographs and say like thanks for coming to watch and supporting us. So yeah, there's lots of like young girls and boys that we get to meet, and they all just are starstruck, and they love our bracelets as well, so they see a lot of them.
What are the bracelets? This is giving me Taylor Swift. What have we got here?
Mine say Danny and Gibbo. This one was someone that made me in Australia when I played over there, and then in my England team, one of the girls, Lauren Bowell, she makes them for us.
So then do you exchange them? Do you give them to fans? What is the kind of protocol for your friendship bracelets?
Yeah, I think during the 100 last year, there was quite a few made for the fans, and then they all turned up to the game with them on, and they were like, look at my bracelet. And it's just really nice to interact with the fans like that.
That is so, so nice. And thinking about any young people watching or fans watching, what's kind of your words of advice to people who are trying to make their way in sport, trying to find their way in sport?
I always just say like make sure that you keep enjoying it, play as many sports as possible, and because if you want to make it a career, then you don't want to be doing a job that you don't enjoy, so just enjoy it as much as you can and just do it as much as you can.
Why have you always loved sports? What is it about the community in the sports environment that really just sets you alight?
I just love the competitiveness. I'm very competitive, so I think being able to play against my friends and with my friends to get successes, and also like you fail together. I really like you all get around each other, which is really nice. In the cricketing community, we do everything together, so it's just nice to have your teammates around you, win or lose.
If you had a message to your younger self or younger women watching, what would that message be about sport and about a career in sport?
I would say that you are going to have ups and downs, and it's how you get through them and the resilience that you build. Just keep enjoying it and always try and see the positives, because things aren't always going to go well, but it will turn out well.
Very nice, some wise words, absolutely. And have you had to come back from injury or anything before?
Yeah, I've had quite a few injuries. Did my ACL and had a stress fracture in my back, so it's quite a long time out of the game. My ACL took me 15 months to get back to full fitness, so the resilience that you build and also like how much you learn about your body is actually really interesting, and it's definitely helped me to know the best way to like get the best out of my body.
And what would be your message to somebody who isn't in the best place right now, who isn't the fittest or has had an injury? What's your message to somebody in terms of that support and to keep going?
I think goals are really important. I know that if I'm in a tough time, that if I have a goal that I want to reach, then it really motivates me to get there. So trying to see that longer picture and what you want to reach, and hopefully the small steps to get there will be easier.
Do you get quite a lot of support from your fellow teammates as well? Like, what's everybody on the team like? Do you have kind of like support there, or is there like a comedian of the group, or like what's the kind of energy?
Yeah, everyone's great. Like we all support each other. We just have fitness testing, and we're all just shouting at each other, telling each other to carry on and not give up.
Keep going!
Yeah. But everyone's got their own little quirks, and it's great that we can all just be ourselves, and we just support each other massively.
What is your most memorable moment from cricket? Do you have a moment that you just thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is real, pinch me?
I would say last year when we played Australia in the T20s in the Ashes at Lord's, and I scored the winning runs for us to win the series. That was pretty surreal.
What does that feel like to have that energy going through you? You know, you've got the cameras, you've got the audience. What is that like?
I don't really remember it because the adrenaline was so high. I'm panicking a lot. But it was crazy. My family was there and my best friends to see it, so it was just really nice after the match to go and see them. Dad cried a bit. It was really nice, and it's just it's just weird to think that I don't remember it, and I'm just, when I think back to it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was crazy.
Now, obviously in football, there's loads of like celebrations of like what you do. Do you have a London Spirit celebration that you do if you're doing really well in the cricket?
Everyone has their own little celebration if they get a wicket. We sing a team song if we win after the game.
Go on, sing it then.
It's been a year. I did actually write it for us last year, but I can't remember what it is. But it's really good.
Now, I heard from a little birdie that this song was actually composed somewhere very special.
It was composed on the TFL services. We had a team social, we'd been to Flight Club, and we were on our way back and we needed a team song, so made a few voice notes of some potential song lyrics, and it came together a couple of days later.
So which service was this on that you wrote the London Spirit team song on?
That's a great question. I'm just going to say the Bakerloo line.
Nice, so you were on the Bakerloo line,
yeah,
and inspiration came to you.
Yes, I had won darts, so I was very buzzing, and I thought I need to write the team song. So I just started singing a few songs. The team were helping me out, telling me if it was rubbish or not, and then a couple of days later, after the excitement had calmed down, we managed to put together a couple of verses.
Oh my goodness, that is such a great story. We've actually heard before people writing books on the underground or on the buses, so it's really nice to hear that people are inspired by the network here. Thank you so much for joining us, Danielle.
Thank you for having me.
We are now very excited to be joined by junior athlete Isabelle Kyson. First of all, tell us about your sport and what you specialise in.
So I am a junior athlete and I specialise in the 400 metre hurdles.
Now, have you competed right here in London? Tell us a bit about your London connections.
Yeah, so I was born in Hackney and I grew up in Shoreditch. I've competed many times in London, a lot of track events, but I think my favourite event was definitely the London Mini Marathon. It was just such an experience running through the streets of London and having the whole crowd cheer for you, and it's just really inspiring.
What is it about the atmosphere in London? You mentioned there are people cheering. Is there a special atmosphere in London?
I think it's just everybody's really quite supportive, and it's just amazing that they're holding up flags saying keep going, and people are handing out little jelly babies and Haribo, so it's just really nice atmosphere.
And what was it like growing up in London, being, you know, in this amazing big city? Did you find it really inspiring?
I did find it really inspiring. I mean, I train in Lee Valley Athletic Centre, so that is a really inspiring place to be, given that so many elite athletes train there, and it's almost like you turn the corner and you bump into like the British champion for 400 metres, and it's just really inspiring getting to be surrounded by such amazing people.
Is there someone in particular who you look up to, who's kind of like a mentor or someone that you just think is absolutely inspirational?
I know she's probably going to be a bit sick of this, and I've said her name a lot, but Lavia Nilsson, the Great Britain 400 metre runner. I was really fortunate to be able to train with her about 2 years ago, for around about 2 years, and it was just really amazing. And at that time she was studying for university, and it was just a really inspiring atmosphere, and being able to talk to her, and she told me a lot about how studying and university actually work really well together. And her and her twin sister Lena, they've had many struggles, and it was just really inspiring to see them overcome those in such a positive way.
Do you have any lovely stories of London that you can remember, just great memories of the city?
I think one of my favourite memories was when I was about 5 or 6, when I was living in Shoreditch at the time, and I remember I used to beg my dad to let me come along with him on his long Sunday morning runs, and I remember just running through the streets of London completely empty, no cars, no buses, and it was just absolutely amazing, just me and my dad running through the city of London.
And do you still run with your dad now? Is that what got you into running in the first place?
Yeah, pretty much. I think he was the main reason why I got into running, and it's really nice to go on long runs with him in the forest as well.
It's incredible to hear you speak about this. Now, what level are you at the moment? Are you still in school? Like, this sounds incredible to be achieving so much while still working through all your academic career.
Yeah, so I just finished my GCSEs an hour and a half ago, roughly. So yeah, I'm 16 years old, just finished year 11, and I would say that I am an elite level junior athlete, yeah.
What does it take to get to that level at your age, and how much commitment and dedication is it? And would you still recommend it? It seems incredible.
I think it's quite tricky to be such a young person and also have sports as such a big part of your life. especially because academics is also really important, and the homework and the exam stress, especially in exam season, can be really difficult to manage. But not also that, but you've also got social pressures as well, and that can be a really big problem, especially for teenagers and young people. So I think it's just really important to make sure that you have a good structure to your life, which is why I do like doing athletics, because it's quite a structured sport and helps me to structure my life around sport and also make room for academics, family and friends.
Now, TfL are hoping to encourage people to have an active journey, so that could be running, walking. Do you run to the tube? Are you that so athletic that you're running?
Only if I'm late. Only if I'm late. But hopefully, I'd like to not have to run to the tube. Maybe walk there. But yeah, I do walk to and from the station from school, and yeah.
Now, can you see where we are? What do you think of the view up here, 90 metres above the Thames?
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't quite realise how close we were to one of my favourite dim sum restaurants, which is literally just over there opposite City Airport.
And you can actually also see, obviously we've got Canary Wharf over there, and if you look over that direction, you might be able to see there is the Helter Skelter of the Olympic Park. Is that one of your dreams, one day, to compete in the Olympics? What are your thoughts on that?
I think as an athlete, definitely yes. I would love to compete in the Olympics, but obviously there is also a chance that I might not make it. It could be for injury, or I'm not quite at the standard to make it. So I would just really hope to be able to continue with athletics the rest of my life.
And what do you love about it? What do you love about competing? Especially you've competed in some really iconic places in London. How does that feel when you've got the crowd there?
I think it's just really inspiring knowing that so many people have got your back and they're all cheering for you. And I think that for me, competing is such a special thing, and I really enjoy the feeling of pushing myself to my limits. Obviously, it's not the nicest feeling when you're racing, because it can be quite painful, especially doing the 400 hurdles, but it is a really amazing and rewarding feeling, especially at the end, especially when you get a new PB or an amazing time, or even if you don't do well, it's still really rewarding and really does get your endorphins going.
Now, you are also working on a really important campaign. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
So I've been campaigning for the last couple of years now. I've been talking to the government as well to hopefully make a change to the national curriculum to include a section about how puberty affects teenage girls in sports.
Wow, and what would you like to achieve? What would you like to see happen? And based on your own experience, like what did you learn at school, or was there just nothing?
So we're taught a lot about the physical effects of going through puberty and the emotional effects, but that's normally in PSHE or biology, but we don't get taught about how it affects us in sports. And I think that's really important because of this lack of knowledge and education around this topic, so many teenage girls drop out of sports, and it is really quite shocking. So I would really like to hopefully make a change to the national curriculum and keep more teenage girls in sports, and ultimately have more women in sports in the future. And I think that will really help millions of girls around the country.
So, Isabelle, how big of a problem is this? How big is the drop-off of young women from sport at puberty?
It's absolutely massive. I mean, I've seen it myself. When I was under 11, I saw so many young girls in the grassroots sports, but as soon as you looked up to, I don't know, I think around about under 17, so 17, 18 years old, there was only 3 or 4 of them left. There really was a massive drop-off. And the actual statistic for that from women in sports was 2/3 of teenage girls drop out of sports by the end of puberty.
And what are some of the reasons that you think that this happens?
So there's a lot of reasons, probably a bit too long to discuss right now, but there's a lot of factors such as body hair, weight gain, body image, social pressures, menstrual cycle, and just lots of them in general. For example, boys, when they tend to go through puberty, they get fitter, faster, stronger. I mean, they have testosterone, so that really does help them in sports. Whilst us teenage girls, we tend to have this body weight gain to help us transition from a kid's body to a woman's body, and that can have a really detrimental effect on our sports. So it can make us feel quite self-conscious and have a negative view in sports. And also, if you are a more competitive girl, it can also plateau your performance or make you perform a bit worse than normal, which can be quite sad and upsetting at the time.
So what is the next steps? What are you really hoping for to happen and to make change?
So I've talked to the Education Minister and I've talked to the people who write the national curriculum, and they have taken on board my suggestions, so I'm really hoping that they'll be able to make a change.
That is absolutely incredible at such a young age to be really making waves and driving change to encourage more young women to stay in sport. Isabelle Kyson, thank you so much for joining us on Conversations in the Cloud.
Thank you so much.
If you're heading into London to watch the cricket at Lord's or the Oval, to watch, of course, the amazing Danny and her team, London Spirit, then why not head across to Greenwich for a lovely ride on the IFS Cloud cable car? It's an absolutely stunning view and a lovely way to relax in the clouds. London is of course synonymous with football, with so many teams here in the capital as well as international matches, and TfL works really hard with those events not only to get fans to the games but also of course to keep the network running smoothly for commuters. And of course, some recent really exciting news is that the overground line from Watford Junction into Euston via Wembley is going to be renamed the Lioness Line. Absolutely phenomenal, in honour of the England women's phenomenal success, winning on home soil in the Euro 2022, which will be launched later this year. Thanks for joining us, and a reminder that the TfL social team loves to get photos and videos of you out on the network, enjoying your sporty day out. So if you are heading to a game, to a match, to a sporting event, then do send your photos and videos in to the social team. You'll find them on @TfL on Twitter and TikTok and @Transport for London on Instagram.